The San Antonio Spurs are in the finals right now, and that's the least scary thing about them because the core carrying this team is absurdly young. We're talking about a generational center and two former top picks who can barely rent a car. So forget this series for a second. The real question is bigger. Are we looking at the next great dynasty in basketball before it's even fully arrived? Here's why this matters more than one finals. Most contenders are built around stars in their late 20s or 30s with a closing window. San Antonio is the opposite. Their best players are just getting started. So if this group is already good enough to reach the finals, the terrifying part for the rest of the league is simple. They should only get better from here. This is Game is Culture. Real quick before we dig in, if you like breakdowns that look at how teams are built instead of just yelling takes at you, go hit subscribe. It's free and it genuinely helps, so click it. First, the centerpiece. It starts with Victor Wembanyama, a 7'4" center who protects the rim like no one in history while also handling and shooting like a guard. In the playoffs, he's been blocking around 3.5 shots a game, a number that sounds made up. He is the rarest kind of foundation, a defensive anchor and an offensive hub in one body. You build a decade around a player like this. And the reason a center like this is so valuable is that he fixes the hardest problem in basketball, defense. With him guarding the rim, the entire team can gamble, pressure, and funnel everything toward a giant eraser. So the Spurs don't have to build a perfect defense around him. He is the defense. That frees them to chase scoring and playmaking everywhere else. The young guards around him. Then look at how they surrounded him. 3 straight years, 3 premium picks. Wembanyama at number 1 in 2023, Stephon Castle at 4 in 2024, who went on to win Rookie of the Year, and Dylan Harper at number 2 in 2025. 3 high lottery talents, all on cheap rookie deals, all under 22. That is a stockpile of young talent almost no one else has. And these aren't projects sitting on the bench. Dylan Harper, a rookie, is already producing in the actual NBA Finals, around 15 points and 7 rebounds a game, playing like a veteran. Stephon Castle was the best rookie in the entire league last year, so the kids aren't the future tense. They're contributing to a Finals team right now, which almost never happens this early. And to keep it from being too young to win, they added a real veteran. De'Aaron Fox, an established all-star level guard, gives them shot creation and experience right now while the kids develop. So the construction is balanced, a generational anchor, a proven veteran, and 2 ascending lottery guards. That's not a fluke roster, that's a designed one. Now before we crown them, let's be careful. Young and talented does not automatically equal a dynasty. The graveyard of the NBA is full of exciting young cores that never won a thing, so let's look honestly at what could stop this group from taking over the league. The questions that decide everything. Here's the biggest one, shooting. For all their talent, this young core has to prove it can space the floor around Wembanyama. In this very series, Dylan Harper is shooting just 14% from 3. A non-shooting backcourt can clog the lane and stall a great offense. So the single biggest swing for this dynasty isn't talent, it's whether these guards learn to shoot. Quick interruption, because now's the time. If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. I'm not going to beg, but I am going to ask, so hit it and I'll keep going. There's also the fit puzzle. Fox needs the ball. Harper needs the ball. Castle is a big guard who creates too. So Mitch Johnson has to figure out how 3 ball-dominant guards coexist around one big man. That's a good problem to have, but it is a real problem. Talent stacked on talent doesn't always add up cleanly. And the simplest risk of all, right now, today, they're down 2-0 in the finals, so this is still potential, not a coronation. Young cores have to actually break through, learn how to win the biggest games, and stay healthy and together long enough to do it. Plenty of teams this promising fell apart before they ever lifted a trophy. So weigh it honestly. On one side, the dream. A generational anchor, 3 top picks, a veteran stabilizer, all cost controlled for years. On the other, the doubts. Shooting, fit, youth, and a series they're currently losing. The ceiling is as high as anything in the league. The floor is just another talented team that never figured it out. But here's why the league should still be nervous. Every flaw on this list is the kind young players usually fix. Shooting improves with reps. Fit gets solved by a good coach over time. Experience is just games played. The things holding the Spurs back are temporary. The things working for them, a generational center and a pile of young talent, are permanent. And that's the scary math for everybody else. Most contenders are trying to win before their stars decline. San Antonio is trying to win before their stars even peak. So whatever happens in this series, the Spurs aren't a team chasing a closing window. They're a team whose window is just beginning to open. That's a very different kind of threat. Put it in one number. Their 3 franchise building blocks are all somewhere around 20 years old. That means, realistically, the Spurs could be contending for the better part of the next decade. Not 1 or 2 seasons. Potentially 8, 9, 10 years of a generational center in his prime. That's not a team. That's an era waiting to happen. And think about the financial advantage hiding in all this youth. Rookie contracts are cheap, so while contenders built around veterans are drowning in luxury tax bills, the Spurs are paying their core a fraction of what stars usually cost. That extra money can be spent on depth, on shooting, on whatever they're missing. Young and good isn't just a basketball edge, it's a budget edge too. There's also the development curve to consider. The version of this core you're watching right now is the worst version it will ever be. Rookies make rookie mistakes, then they learn. By the time these guards hit their primes, the cold shooting nights and the careless turnovers should fade. So the team that's already in the finals is, in theory, just the floor of what this group becomes. But history demands a little caution here too. We've seen can't miss young cores miss. Injuries derail timelines. Egos crack the moment the big money arrives. A star quietly demands a trade. The path from promising to dominant is littered with teams that had everything, except the luck and the patience to see it all the way through. Potential is fragile until it's finally proven. So the honest verdict is a hopeful one, with an asterisk. The ingredients for a dynasty are absolutely here, more than almost anywhere else in the league. What's left is the hardest part of all, staying healthy, staying together, and learning to win the games that genuinely hurt. If they do, the rest of the NBA has a very long decade ahead of it. And that's what makes them must watch, regardless of this series. You are literally watching the early chapters of what could become the league's defining team. Every playoff run from here is a measuring stick. Every summer is a chance to add the missing shooter or wing. The story isn't finished. It's barely started. So whether they win this title, lose it, or fall short for a year or two before breaking through, the Spurs have already become the franchise the rest of the NBA is most afraid of waking up. So here's my question for you. Is this Spurs young core the next great dynasty, or just another exciting team we'll be making excuses for in 3 years? Tell me where you land down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We're in a race to 1,000 subscribers, so please join the family.